Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Welcome, everybody. It is your Watchdog on Wall Street. I've been getting an incredible number of emails from ours all across the country. People also as well subscribing to our Monday through Friday podcast, which is fantastic. But with that, obviously, people following it, you see how busy I've been, and the television appearances and podcasts and all that good stuff, and everything that we have to do for our clients all over the country. I'm doing the best I can to work my way through all of your emails, and I'm going to get to them. I promise. Okay, don't feel offended if I haven't answered. And a lot of them are just complimentary, and I want to respond, but I really have to get through to the people out there that are needing help with their businesses, that need some aid with the PPP program, whatever it may be. I've got to get to those first, so that's what I'm doing. So what I usually do here on the program every now and then is I kind of compile and I put a lot of your questions into various different categories and do the best I can to answer them. The big questions that more and more people are asking. For example, a lot of people concerned about the Fed printing money and what that's going to mean for the markets and inflation. We're going to get to a lot of that stuff today. You've got some good stuff coming out there. So I'm going to try to address a lot of the questions that are coming in via the email on the show today. Because, again, there's only so many hours in the day, people. There is. Again, we're burning the midnight oil here, but it's very, very difficult for me to answer all of your questions. We're on 220, 230 stations around the country, not to mention all the people that subscribe to the podcast. But we're here to help. So what do I think of the markets? That's one of the biggest ones that I get. What is my reaction to what the markets are doing right now and the levels of the market right now? A lot of people out there are scratching their head. They're scratching their head and they're saying, I don't get this. The economy, look at the unemployment numbers, and the economy is shut down, and look at where the markets are today. People, I'm here to tell you, okay? I'm here to tell you that they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Fed. You understand? They wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Fed. And the Fed hasn't even really used its power yet. It's just the threat that they will. It is basically what we call putting a put below the market. Now, what does that mean? It says, oh, my God, well, then we better get out because the market could certainly take another fall. The market could take a fall. The market went down. We were sitting, down close to 18,000 not too long ago. Could it do it again? Yeah, I told you it can. It can. But for long-term investors, it's something that you should bear no mind. We don't run. I don't run a fund here. I don't run a fund. I'm not one of those guys that goes on CNBC and Fox Business and talks about and starts pitching my book. Each and every client that we have here is different and unique. We don't do cookie cutter portfolios. Everybody's situation is different and unique. And that's what you should be looking for when you're looking for a financial advisor. Someone is going to build a portfolio around you. So certain portfolios that we manage are going to outperform other portfolios based upon people's risk tolerance, age, goals, and a myriad of different factors. What are we doing for the people that are still investing, still putting money away, still in the growth stages? We're doing the same damn thing we were 3-4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. The same thing I was doing then, I am doing today. We dollar cost average. We dollar cost average into quality. That's it. That's it. That's what we know. You understand? Does that make me a one-trick pony? No, it doesn't. Okay? It just makes me right. I understand, okay? I've talked about this before. You get to a point in life, that you don't know what you don't know, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program. We've got some interesting stories we've got to go over. Once you understand that, you're in a good place. I know, despite, again, what you're told on a regular basis on all the news programs out there, I know that I cannot time the markets. I can't. With any sort of certainty, I cannot time the markets. Yeah, sure, for fun. For fun, I'll be like, you know what, this is what I think is going to happen next. And I try to in my mind, but I avoid all temptation to get into that game. We don't do that. I don't try to guess what the market is going to do next. I don't. I understand valuations. We've talked about valuations here on the program and what you own in your portfolio and how it has an intrinsic value. And the idea, the goal is to buy high-quality companies below their intrinsic value and then sell them when it's above their intrinsic value, when it becomes overvalued. When we put a company into somebody's portfolio, when we're buying something for somebody's portfolio, the goal is you hope to never have to sell it. You hope you never have to sell that company. You hope you have a company in there that's going to do well, that's going to continue to grow. The price of the stock is going to continue to go up. It's going to pay a nice dividend, and you don't have to sell it. Now, there are certain times where the fundamentals will change. When the fundamentals change, that's when we change our mind. That's when we have to make a decision. What we do along the way, very simple. Very simple. The same thing we've been doing for all these years. As companies go up, as positions grow in value, you trim them. You cut them down to size. One way I've described this here on the program is I allude back to the 1980s hit, The Karate Kid, and there's Mr. Miyagi teaching Daniel-san about the bonsai tree and how he takes care of the bonsai tree. Cut here, snip here. And then you have a beautiful bonsai tree. The same thing holds true for your portfolio. Now, how many people will go on their program? You never see, they talk like politicians when they go on these television shows and how they go about handling what's going to happen with the market next. I'm here to tell you I don't know. I don't know. I do know it's very, very difficult to fight the Fed. It is. One thing that I've noticed, and again, you'd be a student of the United States, the economy here in the United States, betting on the end of the world has never, ever been a good trade. It's funny, you've got these portfolio managers out there, and they roll them out. They roll them out from time to time when things are tough out there, and they're the people that are constantly pitching the end of the world. The sky is going to fall. It's going to be the end of the world. I remember, I think it was on Sean Hannity's program, radio show, over 10 years ago. And I was battling with this Salente guy on the program that was jumping up and down. He was a regular on Glenn Beck's program. We're going to be Mexico City. The economy's going to tank. Oh, the Dow's going to go to 2,000. It's all this end-of-the-world type crap. And I'm laughing at all this stuff. And then he's got all his true believers, of course. All of his true believers, and they, send you emails and nasty messages and how he's going to be right. It's never been a good trade. It has never been a good trade. There's been a lot of pain when it comes to downside in the markets over my career. Again, I just didn't enter this thing. Dealt with lots of bear markets. I've dealt with lots of recessions. I've dealt with lots of corrections. And nothing's changed. Nothing. We were buying stocks when the market was down a couple months ago, 1,000 points, 2,000 points, going all over the place. We were dollar cost averaging at that point in time. Now I'll give you another sub-reference, 1980s film. Bull Durham. When it comes to dollar cost averaging, remember when Crash Davis goes out to, what was his name, Newt LaRouche, the pitcher? Don't think it only hurts the ball club. That day of the month where you're putting money away, putting it in your 401k, your IRA, your account, whatever it may be, and the market's down 1,000 points in that day, things are going nuts. Everybody in the television studio says it's Armageddon out there. You still put money away. Don't think it only hurts the ball club. With that being said, has our job over the years changed and become more difficult? Yep, it has. Do I see issues going forward and how we're going to go about positioning portfolios? What I see for the American economy due to the federal government's action and the Federal Reserve's action? I do. Are there things that worry me about the American economy going forward? Yep. You know what I'm afraid of? I'm not afraid of the coronavirus. I've made that perfectly clear here on the program. I'm not. So stop telling me to stay safe. I mentioned that last week. It's just enough, okay, with the stay safe crap. I'm afraid of zombies. That's right. Zombies. What do I mean by zombies? Zombie companies. Companies that should go out of business. Companies that should go by the wayside. Companies that should go away because they're not good companies. Again, we've got this thing, this Joseph Schumpeter thing in our economy. It's called creative destruction. If you are weak, you should go away. Go away. It's the way it is. It's creative destruction. Now, again, I get it. I get it. This is a self-imposed coma that the government put us in. Unprecedented, self-imposed coma that all of our fearless leaders on both the left and the right are telling us was necessary, which I'm telling you is nonsense. That it's going to kill off a lot of companies that were weak, except certain ones. Certain companies that get aid from the government, that are helped along by the government, that should have gone into bankruptcy, wiping out equity positions. They can reorganize in bankruptcy. That's the system that we have. That is what should happen. My fear, moving forward, is we end up like Japan. 1980s Japan. Oh, yeah, remember the movie Rising Sun? I know, it's sub-referencing a lot of movies today. Japan was going to be the way of doing things, the way of the world. They're buying up everything. Guess what? It fell apart. What did they do? They decided to prop up all of these companies, and they've had nothing in terms of economic growth for decades. We don't want that. We don't want that. I don't like the fact that we have interest rates that are just at ridiculously low levels. I know. You're told conventional wisdom is, oh, it's awesome. Look at how low mortgage rates are. This is fantastic. No. I like having safe assets that actually yield something. But this has been going on for a long period of time. These are the issues. These are the real-life investing issues that we deal with. that we help our clients with that we're going to have to work through. We'll be talking in and out of the program about some of these things over the course of the day. But we are here to help you. We're here to help you. I'm really proud. A lot of people are taking a look at what they've done, and they're recognizing, gee whiz, my portfolio is a mess. I haven't been doing this right. We got an incredible amount of people that are signing up for consultations with our certified financial planners. Yes, we can do it over Zoom. You can do it over Skype if you want to meet face-to-face. Can't bounce around all over the country at this point in time, but we are here to help. So get to our website, sign up, free consultations with our certified financial planners. We've got all sorts of stuff there at the site. Watchdog on wallstreet.com, one word. We also have a 24-hour-a-day help hotline, 800-471-5984. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to The Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
You know what? I was planning this song. I have a Woodstock story coming up here on the program. We do. Coming up, I got a great Woodstock story. We'll get into that. What do I do? Another question we're getting from investors. What do I do? I'm close to retirement. I'm in retirement. What am I supposed to do? This market volatility, I can't take it anymore. Well, if you're close to retirement or you are in retirement and you are fully invested in stocks and you need to live off of that portfolio, and that portfolio is not putting off enough income for you to live on, you're making a mistake. The one thing that you do not want to do ever, you do not want to have to turn to your portfolio every single month or every single quarter to look to what stocks to sell to live on. Markets can do extraordinary, they can do bizarre things to the upside and to the downside. We'll use this as an example, shall we? If you're one of those people who's got to go to your portfolio to sell positions every single month, and then all of a sudden you have the coronavirus pandemic, and you've seen the markets go from 29,000 down to 18,000, and you start to panic, and then you have to sell high-quality things that you don't need to at a certain point in time. You need to keep. And I know it stinks because guess what? Cash and cash equivalents are not yielding much. I get that. But you do not want to be forced into making bad trades because of a market. Meaning that you have to have a bit of a cushion. If you need to have access to cash to pay for your bills, to have something that you have to pay for coming up, it shouldn't be in the stock market. Another question that I get all the time. Hey, gee, Chris, markets have come down. What should I buy right now? Because I got to buy a house next year, and I got this down payment. It looks like a good time I can invest something. What? No, you need that money for a down payment on a house in a year. You shouldn't be invested in stocks. Why? Because markets can do bizarre things. They can. They can do rational things. They can do bizarre things. And stuff happens. Stuff happens. Pandemics happen. Unfortunately, terrorist attacks happen. I went over this a couple weeks ago here on the program. You take a look at the 1980s. That was the crystal ball bit I did. Talking about all the terrible things that happened during the 1980s. Yet the markets did extraordinarily well. You can talk about all of the great things that happened during the 1990s. And the markets went up, but the markets came back down. You're going to have those points of time. But this is why you need to protect yourself. We have this fire drill concept that we like to get across with people. We got to conduct a portfolio fire drill. What if something bad happens? Where are you going to be? Are you going to be okay? It's something you need to deal with. And what I'm telling you right now, people, right now, I don't care what they're saying out there. I don't care what kind of rah-rah stuff politicians are giving to. Our economy is on a ventilator. Bailouts are a ventilator. And until we get off it, until we get off that ventilator, yeah, it can get really volatile out there. Got to take another break. Yeah, we're going to get into Woodstock and Elvis and all sorts of stuff. Believe it or not, yes. And the coronavirus when we get back. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Newsletter consultations with our certified financial planners. We shall return.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Ah, yeah, the king. I'm going to ask everybody a question. Pay attention. What does Elvis Presley, I Love Lucy, West Side Story, Dwight Eisenhower, The Grateful Dead, Mick Jagger, the lunar moon landing. I mean, what do all these things have in common with the pandemic? With the pandemic that we're going through right now, huh? What does it have in common with the coronavirus? Give up? Well, as it turns out, 1957, Elvis came out with the movie Jailhouse Rock that was packing the movie theaters. Packed. That was the last year that they ran I Love Lucy. West Side Story was holding tryouts in Washington, D.C., and it opened up on Broadway in September. The Ford Edsel rolled off the assembly line. Oh, geez, what else? In God We Trust appeared on the U.S. currency. The first Toys R Us store opened. And guess what? We had a pandemic. That's right. In February 1957, a new influenza emerged in East Asia, triggering a pandemic. That's right. I'm not kidding. Hit coastal cities in the United States in the summer of 1957. The estimated number of deaths worldwide was 1.1 million. 116,000 in the United States. Like today's pandemic, there was a demographic pattern to the deaths. It hit the elderly population with heart and lung disease. However, it was also different from the one that we have today. It was very fatal for pregnant women as well. This pandemic was actually, the infection rate was actually higher than the Spanish flu of 1918. The fatality rate was 0.67%. They did come up with a vaccine in 1957, but it wasn't widely distributed. Now, the population of the United States at the time was 172 million, which is, again, a little more than half of our population today. Life expectancy was 69 versus 78 today. But people were a little bit healthier back then. Obesity wasn't as much of a problem. So basically, if you take a look at that pandemic and you compare it to today's pandemic, guess what? Guess what? It was deadlier. Did they shut down schools? Did they shut down restaurants? Did they shut down sporting events? Nope. No, they didn't. They didn't. Life went on. So let's fast forward, shall we? Let's fast forward another 10 years. Yep, 1968. 1968, the Hong Kong flu came to the United States in December. And you know when it peaked? A year later. It killed over 100,000 people in the United States, mostly over the age of 65, over 1 million worldwide. Lifespan, 1968, 1969, 70 versus, again, 78 today. Population was 200 million compared with 328 million today. Again, the population was healthier, wasn't as much obesity at that point in time. So again, the lethality of that virus, much worse than today. Again, if you're in your early 50s, this happened during your lifetime. What was happening during that point in time in the United States? Think about it. Think about all the things that were going on. Beatles, Stones, for crying out loud, they were planning Woodstock. Woodstock happened, and did they cancel Woodstock during the pandemic? No. Did the stock market crash? Did Congress pass any legislation? Did the Fed do anything? Did a single governor out there stop you from going and buying seeds or shutting down your salon? No. Was it covered in the media? Sure, a little bit, but it never became a big issue. What the governments did was they collected data. So I want everybody to think about it here for a second. What's the difference? What is the difference? We're shutting down. We put ourselves into a coma, and we're told that we had to do it. Had to do it. And again, they lied. They told us if we didn't do this, and the administration is lying about this. If we didn't do this, over 2 million people would be dead. You don't know that. That's a lie. The president is lying when he's saying that. He's doing that to cover his buttocks. For crying out loud, they had a story this past week. Cuomo's like scratches his head. I don't know. 66% of the people who are getting this are staying at home. Duh. We were one of the few people out there in the media, on radio, that called this. Why? Because we can look at history. You want to know what the difference is? I'll tell you what the difference is. The media, 24-hour news, and social media. That's what. That's what the difference is. You see these media people today? You see a single one of them out there actually talking about the cost of this on society? No. They're full. Let's shut it down. Let's scare people half to death. This is terrible. Oh, my God. Are you going to be safe? Are your kids going to be safe if they go back to school? Scare. We become a nation of the biggest bunch of wimps I've ever seen. I'm embarrassed. I'm going to say it here on the program. It is embarrassing to be an American today. It is, as a society as a whole. I'm saying it. I'm going to call it here. It's embarrassing. Now, not all of you are like this. But look at how we are reacting to this. I just gave you 2 examples. Deadlier pandemics, late 50s, early 60s, they did nothing. And we turned out just fine. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Jerry Garcia, the dead survived it. And they did more cocaine to kill a small horse, for crying out loud. Watchdog on WallStreet.com is our site. We'll be back.
Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Listen, I want to be clear. I want to be really clear. This is a horrible virus. We've said this from the get-go. I know, I'll after this week's show, like other week's shows, why do you keep talking down the virus? You probably don't know anybody who's gotten it. You don't know anybody who's died. Wrong. You're wrong. However, I do know more people that have died in car accidents and of cancer and of heart disease and a myriad of other things than I know people have died from this. And one of the things that we've made perfectly clear here on the program, a lot of people are going to die due to the lockdown. Again, you want to listen to this program, you have to open up your mind. You have to open up your mind. You have to think. We gave you the Harvard public policy study from the Great Recession, the amount of increased cancer deaths. I have a story here today that goes into the toll that is going to be placed upon this country. placed upon this country, the amount of deaths that are going to happen, the amount of deaths that are occurring. NPR story this past week. They've scared the crap out of people to such a degree when they have issues like stroke or heart attacks, they're not going to the hospital and people are dying. People are not getting procedures that they need done. Suicide hotlines. A phone is ringing off the hook. No one's talking about this. There's two sides to it. This wasn't handled properly. We didn't handle, again, I'll get into the nursing home stuff and Andrew Cuomo. It's an absolute disgrace a little bit later on in the program. But you quarantine people at risk. You worry about the people at risk. You don't shut down the economy. You don't. We're starting to come to, I think the country is slowly but surely starting to come to the realization that we screwed up, and we screwed up royally. Going to take another quick break. Again, welcome to The Truth, the Watchdog on Wall Street show, watchdogonwallstreet.com, watchdogonwallstreet.com newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. We'll be back.
You're listening to The Watchdog on Wall Street. This is The Watchdog on Wall Street.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Whereas I'm embarrassed as a whole, I know people are going to get upset, embarrassed to be an American based upon what our country and what our leaders are doing. There are plenty of great Americans out there that are fighting back. The young lady salon owner in Texas and what she's doing, and we're seeing other examples, sheriffs. I'm not enforcing these ridiculous rules. People saying, screw that, I'm going to the beach. Yeah, people are starting to get restless. Again, the media they're going to keep telling you, no, people aren't going to feel safe. They're not going to go out. Yes, certain people are. Certain people are not going to feel safe, and guess what? I don't want to hang out with them anyway, so stay home. Stay home. I don't care. You can stay at home. I get a kick out of people wearing masks. You drive around here in New York, you see people wearing masks in their car by themselves. I'm like, what a doofus. You're wearing a mask in your car by yourself. It's hard. I drive around, I see these people are brain dead. Anyway, I'm going to say a sentence here that I thought I'd never say in my life. Never even occurred to me. I got a black market haircut this week. Yeah, I did. I took my boys and we went to the guy who cuts our hair, went to his house. I got a black market, because again, it's illegal. Breaking the law, breaking Cuomo's rules. Think of that Judas Priest song, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to break the law. Last weekend, I went to a graduation party. Guess what? There was more than 10 people there. We didn't care. Sinners! Yeah, driving around my neighborhood, I'm seeing people having barbecues and people over and starting to say, enough is enough. Starting to recognize this for what it is. So you want to make sure you're staying 6 feet apart. Social distancing. Yeah, remember when social distancing was at the high school prom or the homecoming dance, and if you were too close to the partner that you had next to you, the teacher would come and break you up a little bit? Enough. Right here, you two got to get a little bit further apart there. That was social distancing back when I was growing up. This 6 feet apart crap. Give me a break. And then you get the true believers out there. The little future Nazis and Stasis out there that if you do it wrong, they start lecturing you or yelling at you or whatever it may be. Shut up. Do your homework. Stop being such a dupe, for crying out loud. Use your brain. It was fascinating this past week. There's Cuomo giving us, gee whiz, 66% of these people they're following. They're doing exactly what we told them to do. They're staying at home and they're still getting the virus. Oh, my God. Anyway, everything that we have been told so far by the authorities, this is mind-boggling to me. The authorities have been wrong the entire time. Oh, by the way, that 2 million figure that even the Trump administration is using, the guy that came up with that broke quarantine in the UK to go have a little tryst with his married lover. Did you see that story? That Niall Ferguson guy? Yeah, more stories coming out. Florida's like, gee whiz, this virus, it looks like it was in Florida back in November and December. Europe saying, yeah, you know what? We had it back in December too. And guess what? Now it's going to be moved back to November, October, all sorts of good stuff. You understand, people, what we're doing? They had the models, I think, the people making fun of Sweden and what Sweden is doing. What Sweden did was right. They put measures in place to keep the spread of the disease under control so it wouldn't overwhelm the healthcare facilities. And it worked. People, well, they got more death in Sweden than they do in some of these other countries. Yeah, you know what? It's going to work its way through those other countries too, people. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Targeted lockdowns work. We shut down the entire country. Even our experts now. Yeah, Scott Gottlieb, he's regular. He's on TV all the time, former head of the FDA. Dr. Gottlieb's on TV. He's like, hey, you know, we did all this mitigation stuff, but you know, it's not working the way we think, as well as we thought it was going to be. Well, duh. You know, people still have to go to the grocery store. People still have to, you know, do some things. And guess what? They're all meeting at the exact same place. Inevitably, this is a very contagious virus. There's no doubt about that. It's going to spread. You understand that the longer these lockdowns last, the worse it's going to be? Go back. You can go online. We archive all of these shows here on the program. Okay? That's why I call it one big C, I told you so moment here in the program. We said the longer this lasts, the worse it's going to be. Businesses are not going to come back. How many people listening right now are wondering, scratching their head of what their Main Street, what their town squares, what they're going to look like when all of a sudden some fearless leader's like, okay, we got to phase 4 now. You can go out, but still remain social. Don't shake anybody's hand. The world's going to change. It's never going to be the same. What? Like this is the worst thing that has happened. The worst pandemic that has ever hit the planet. That's horse crap. Well, you mean to tell me there's not going to be 100,000 people at a Michigan football game? Is that what you're saying? It's never going to be the same? Who wants to live life like that? Not me. Not me. And you know what? For all of you people that want to live life like that, go to your basement. Go to your basement and go blog or do whatever the hell other crap. And go on social media and make your little snarky posts and wear your mask indoors and wear your gloves and be scared of all the little boogeymen out there that are going to get you. Okay? Go ahead. Just leave us people alone. Okay? Leave us alone. I want to go to a ball game. I want to go out to eat. Okay? I want my kids to play ball this summer. I want to get busy again. Well, you people that are scared, stay home. And don't bother the rest of us. They're breaking the law. Judas Priest. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. I think Beavis and Butthead played that at one point in time. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street. Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
I say things here on the program. Again, I'm not taking anything back. I just know the blowback that I'm going to get for certain things. And last hour talking about embarrassed to be an American and our reaction to this and how we're handling this at this point in time. By the way, you take a look at China's numbers. They're coming back like gangbusters, aren't they? Anyway, I'm consistent, though. I talk about this in and around 4th of July every year. I talk about this in terms of, 4th of July. I love the holiday. I love the barbecues, but that aspect of hanging out for friends. But I get these people flying their flags and all this stuff. They have no idea what that flag means, what it represents, and what freedom is and what freedom is all about, and the responsibility and the work that's involved with freedom. All these people that want handouts and giveaways. You have no right. You have no right to go celebrating America. That's the people that look to the government, look to our leaders. That's not who we are. That's not who we are. It's unfortunately, in many respects, what we're becoming, and it's embarrassing. It is. I want to, again, I feel like I almost have to do this every week on the program. And again, we're still, even during this pandemic, we're adding new stations on a regular basis, and we get new listeners all the time. And again, sometimes it doesn't even matter. Some people just like to go through life with blinders on. And that's both people on the left and the right. Again, you listen to this program, you can tell I'm a pretty conservative guy. I'm a pretty conservative guy, libertarian guy. But again, I'm not a member of the Republican Party. Left the Republican Party years ago because they lie and they don't have any spine. I can't deal with people like that. I can't deal with anybody that doesn't have a moral center. That doesn't have a moral, so it doesn't stick by their morals and certain guidelines. There's a really good television show out there. The character does that all the time. Is Tom Selleck's character in Blue Bloods. People that will stick by a certain set of rules and morals and values, and they don't bend. You get another character in fiction, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan character in the books in particular. But anyway, when I come down hard here on the program, you get people on the right that listen to the program, big-time Donald Trump supporters here. And I come down and I criticize him. They get bent out of shape. And again, you want to argue with me, you want to debate me, that's fine. If you disagree with something, I would love to have a conversation with you. But in facts. Now, the left, I'm telling you right now, the left is much, much worse with this. I mean, they're just, again, there's no thought process that's involved. But you don't want to turn yourself into one of those people that goes through life with blinders on. I don't care if you voted for the guy. I don't care if you support the guy. I support the President of the United States. I think many of the things that he has done throughout his administration have been fantastic. I wish he had gone farther on many of the things. I think he's failed on things, and we point that out here on the program. We do, but we're going to be honest with you. Okay? You want to go listen to a radio show or a program where it's nothing but cheerleaders for the administration. Go ahead and do that. You can listen to that. I admit here, I listen to the Limbaugh program. I do. I'm a fan of the Rush Limbaugh program. I don't think Rush is being nearly objective enough right now when it comes to the president and the handling of this. I think he understands what the president is going through, but Rush is starting to look at this more through politics rather than doing the right thing. And I listened to it this past week where people were actually calling into his program and saying, well, Trump is the president. It's not Fauci. Fauci and Birx are not the president. It was just like, well, they're so popular right now that you can't really do anything. Whoa. President Donald Trump won after that Access Hollywood tape. After that accident, he still won. If you've got to go out and you've got to defeat St. Fauci right now and open the country, that's what the president has to do. That's what he has to do. If he wants me to vote for him, he's going to have to go out and get this country opened and back to work again. And it has to be sooner rather than later. When they come out, the president does this again and again and again. And I mentioned here, if he mentions the word ventilators one more time, I'm going to throw up in my mouth. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about the freaking ventilators. But I'm also tired of hearing that if we didn't do what we did, there'd be 2 million people dead. That's not true. That's right. There's no way in knowing that. And if that is true, guess what's going to happen? Then 2 million people are going to die. Unless we magically come up with a vaccine. And again, I'm not counting on that either. Sorry. I'm also tired of this as well. This is, again, something that I've been lamenting a long time here on the program. I don't like it when politicians declare war on inanimate objects. We can go back to Lyndon Johnson, the war on poverty. I declare war. I do declare war on poverty. An inanimate object, the war on poverty. How's that worked out? How many trillions of dollars have we spent on the war on poverty? Have poverty levels really changed since the late 1960s? Nope. They haven't. How about the war on drugs? Man, that's been going on for a long, long time. How's that war worked out for us? How are we doing on the war on drugs? I mean, it's improved. I have to say, the Trump administration has done a pretty good job in curtailing some of the opiate deaths. And one of the reasons behind that is we're getting more people back to work and growing the economy. That's been an important part of it. But again, we declare war on an inanimate object. We got the war on terror. How many trillions of dollars have we spent on the war on terror? How well are things going in Afghanistan and Syria and Iraq and all over the Middle East? How's that inanimate war on terror doing? And now we got the war on the coronavirus. It's not a war. Stop comparing it to a war. Anyway, moving on. I have to talk. Last hour I mentioned on the program some of the things that are giving me pause moving forward as far as our economy is concerned. I want to come back and I want to have a dynamic economy. What do I mean by dynamic? One of the reasons why I do this program, and my longtime listeners know, I do it for my kids, not just for you, my listeners out there, and for all the people that we're helping all across the country and all that good stuff. But I'm here trying to tell you, I want my kids to grow up in a world where they can succeed beyond their wildest dreams and they can also fail. That is my goal. That's what I want. This place, this America that we've got here, and what we've been able to accomplish here in such a short period of time is just extraordinary. If you take a look at it in terms of history and what life has been like on the planet for human beings, and you can go to Hobbes and nasty, brutish, and short, and just how amazing this place is. And I take a look at where my grandparents came from, where my in-laws have come from, and what my family has done, and what I expect out of my children to do moving forward. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. I want that. What scares me is that the bigger we allow government to become, The bigger we allow government to become, the more involved that we allow them to become a part of our lives. Again, it's a trade-off. You lose that. You lose it. Do you think children growing up in certain European countries, do you think that they have the same type of optimism? Do you think that they have the same potential that we have here in the United States? And to be fair, you know what I always do? I always cite, a Democrat in this case. I'll cite Bill Clinton. Do you think that Bill Clinton is possible in Europe? Do you think it's possible? Single mom, poverty, Hope, Arkansas, president of the United States. I don't care whatever you think of Bill Clinton. That's quite a rise, don't you think? It's not possible elsewhere. It's possible here. If we stop second guessing elites and people in power, if we lose our rebellious spirit, we lose that here in this country, guess what? You're going to lose all of that potential. When I talk about a dynamic economy, again, I mentioned Joseph Schumpeter last hour. Phoenix rising from the ashes. We need failure. Companies need to go away. Companies need to go out of business. There's a disconnect right now, and I don't like it. I don't like it. How in the world, and I'll give you an example of this. How in the world does Boeing, and I'll tell you why. I'm asking you. How in the world does Boeing, a company that is in deep dog do, how do they go out and borrow $25 billion? They didn't, not a government bailout. Not a government bailout. $25 billion at 5%. $25 billion at 5%. How do they go about doing that? They go about doing it, here's your answer, is because they are too big to fail. The people that are lending the money are saying, hey, I could lend the money, I could buy U.S. government bonds at next to nothing, or I can buy Boeing debt at 5%, and guess what? I'm going to be made whole on that because the government's not going to allow that company to fail. That's a problem. That's a problem. I hope we can come out of this. And we can do away with too big to fail. Again, one of the things that we've been banging on here on the program for a long time that will allow for greater economic growth, salaries to rise in this country, is we must get rid of these monopolies, these too big to fail companies, these companies that are in essence regulatory capture that keep themselves in power, companies where executives are turning themselves into billionaires and millionaires 100 times over because of getting paid in stock and then having the companies buy back the stock. Now, hey, listen, people say, well, you sound like Elizabeth Warren. No, I don't. I sound like a capitalist. Elizabeth Warren wants wealth taxes and all this other crap out there. I want to do away with this practice. I want to go back to executives getting paid cash like they were back in the 1990s, prior to all of this. CEOs making this insane amounts of money like they're making via stock, and they didn't invent anything. They're managers. You want to become a billionaire? Yeah, fine. Okay, become a billionaire, but do it the old-fashioned way. Build a better mousetrap. Come up with a better idea. These are the things that we need to work on moving forward. These are the things that are going to hold the economy back. Too big to fail holds the economy back. Too big to fail. Too big to fail keeps wages down. Come out on the other side. It's job one. Have to deal with it as a nation. Got to take a break. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Newsletter. Consultations with our certified financial planners. All sorts of great stuff there at the site. Come a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. Our podcast, Monday through Friday. I keep the podcast in and around. I average around a half an hour. A half an hour. You want to know? You know what? I'll get back from the break and I'll tell you. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We shall return.
The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back, kiddos. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Yes, the big weekend program. Big weekend program. We do it here. It's 3 hours long. And if you're not getting the full 3 hours, you call up the radio station you're listening to right now and you demand the full 3 hours of the show. But our Monday through Friday thing, I decided, I said, you know what, I'm going to keep it a half an hour. Average around a half an hour a day. And last hour on the program, I talked about the reality of 24-hour news media cycle and how it hasn't been healthy for the country at all. It hasn't. It's not healthy. Hasn't been good along with social media. Unintended consequences that we don't really think about when we put things and move things in a certain direction. I yearn for the day. How many people miss the days of CNN being a news network that had a half an hour news program and you could listen to it watch it for a half an hour and it would change a little bit every half an hour based upon what was going on in the world, and that was it. Now, granted, my podcast, there's no commercials and I commentate on the important stories of the day, but we keep it short and sweet. And sometimes I'll go over a little bit, and sometimes it might be a little bit shorter. But we're pretty concise in what we're going over. And that's why we do things. So, again, I recommend you can sign up for our podcast at the website at watchdogonwallstreet.com. And everything on our website's absolutely free. Okay. I saw this story. Another See, I Told You So moment here on the program. The workplace, without a doubt, we were talking about the changes that are going to take place after the coronavirus. These changes that are going to take place permanently are not due to people's fears, okay? It's due to dollars and cents. Many businesses out there are going to come to realize that, wow, and again, they could track this. Many of my employees were very, very productive working from home. Wow, they were pretty productive working at home. We can continue with this. Here's a story about the BMO, the Bank of Montreal. Up to 80% of its employees, about 36,000 of its staff, are looking to shift to flexible arrangements once this pandemic subsides. What does that mean? They're going to allow their workers to work part-time in the office and part-time from home. We talked about this here on the program in the sense that companies are going to recognize, gee whiz, I am not going to need as big of a footprint. I'm not going to have to spend so much on office space and utilities and all of these other things. Wow, I can have some of my employees, if they want to go move into a no tax state, no income tax state, they can go ahead and do that. This is going to cut my costs. Now, granted, you're going to need to keep some of your younger workers and the people that you're trying to train inside the workplace, and you're going to still have that physical footprint, but it's going to be smaller. And it's going to make companies more profitable. It's going to make them more efficient. The workplace is going to change. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's a natural evolution of things. The technology exists today where it's going to work. Listen, I do all of my television appearances today from my home studio. People watch me on TV. I do them all from my home studio. Do I want to get on the train and go to the city again and be around people? Yeah, I do. I miss that. I do. I really do miss going into the city. But again, I would still do some of this stuff from home. This is the reality of what's going to happen moving forward. What does that mean for commercial real estate? Not good. Not good. What is it going to mean for residential real estate? Well, it's going to make residential real estate a hell of a lot cheaper. We'll touch a little bit more on real estate. I know I did it last week on the program. When we get back, watchdogonwallstreet.com, Watchdog on wallstreet.com. Newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. We shall return.
You're listening to The Watchdog on Wall Street. You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to The Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the one, the only, the Watchdog on Wall Street. It's always honored to have you tuned into the big program here. All right. Real estate. It's one of those things out there. People they're constantly lied to about what it means. Your home, what it means in regards to your financial plan. I try to encourage people to not look to their home as a retirement plan. Don't do it. Don't. Let me give you an example here. I mentioned this on the podcast. Friend of mine, very successful person, do business with selling their home. And I'm talking highly, one of the most successful people in what they do around the country. I'll just leave it at that. Got a beautiful home. They bought it back in 2005 for, I think it was $4.2 million on the water. They're selling it now. It's about 16 years later for about $6.5 million. Now, most people would say, wow, look at the money that they made on that house. Look at all the money that they made. No, they didn't. They didn't make any money on the house. You factor in the interest payments. You factor in the taxes. You factor in the insurance. You factor in the upkeep. Not to mention the fact. What do you think if you took that $4.2 million and you just invested it? Do it yourself in an S&P fund for 16 years at that point in time. How much more money they would have today. However, we all need to live somewhere. Look at your home as an installment plan purchase. That's it. I've described it this way. My home means many, many things to me. And the place I live now, this is the third home that I've owned. I have apartments and all sorts of other places, but third home that I have owned. And I love this place. I do. I love this place. I needed a house for 7 people because of my in-laws. And it entails a certain size and a certain cost. But I love it. However, I've got kids that are going to be going off to college soon. If you honestly, I'm not staying. As much as I love this place, I am not going to pay to keep up a house like this when my kids are gone and pay the property taxes that I have to pay here because of schools here on the North Shore, Long Island. I'm not going to do it. That's insanity. It's a waste of money, and I don't like wasting money. And that is the reality, people, when it comes to a home. Now, I'm tying this into what we're talking about with BMO and commercial real estate. New York City for a while now has been converting office space, old office space, in particular downtown New York, into residential. Residential real estate in Manhattan has come way down. Again, it's one of the biggest secrets out there. One of the biggest secrets. I might have mentioned this on my program. 30 miles outside of New York, 1-bedroom apartments in my town, similar size, similar quality, are more expensive, much more expensive than they are in New York, in good neighborhoods. Things are changing. What do you think is going to happen around the country? Hopefully, various different municipalities will come and understand and might have to change the zoning for office space and turn it into residential. One of the things that we suggested here on the programs in regards to retail space going awry. Many of these malls. Wow, that'd be a good. You got a mall. It's not going to. They're going out of business. You might want to maybe turn it into a school, or maybe try to turn it into a bit of a residential space in some way, shape, manner, or form. But this happens, people. This happens in an economy that is as dynamic as ours is. Now, what does that mean for, you're going to have more units come onto the market. What does that mean? What does that mean for residential space? Well, guess what? In certain neighborhoods, prices are going to start coming down. And that is always, in conventional wisdom, that's always associated as a bad thing. It's only good, for whatever reason it may be, it's only good when home prices go up. Do you understand that there's two sides to that transaction? With housing prices coming down, isn't that a good thing for somebody buying a home? Doesn't that give them more disposable income to go out and buy things and go on vacation and do all sorts of other stuff? Of course it does. But again, conventional wisdom is poison, and it's what we always try to defy here on the program, and how you have to look at things through a much wider lens. Yes, there's going to be changes. Companies are recognizing, holy shnikes, I'm not going to need nearly as big as a footprint. And it's going to, again, ripple through the economy, but it's not a bad thing. Got to take a break. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't go anywhere. Back.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
I have to mention this story. I got so much. I could do 10 hours today without even blinking an eye. Did you see this guy? This, again, how the government overreacts. And it's how the people forget. And the media allows this, too, for whatever reason. All of these governors, I need 40,000 ventilators. I need 60. No, I need 30. What? 88% of people that go on ventilators die. Like I said, I'm going to write that down. Do not ever put me on a ventilator. Anyway, during the whole everybody's freaking out because we need ventilators and we're not going to have enough hospital space and we're all going to die. It wasn't too long ago, people. Some guy out in California, I'm not making this story up, not making it up. Not making it up. Again, it's Trump. He was on this bandwagon, too. Media's hitting him. Why don't we have enough? We don't have enough stuff. So Trump tweets out, I do order, I do decree, start making ventilators now. So some guy out in California, this guy's name is Yaron Oren Pines, an electrical engineer in Silicon Valley. You know what his specialty is? Mobile phone technology. The guy had 75 followers on Twitter. That's it. No experience whatsoever in government contracting or medical devices. None. You know what my state did? I'm not making this up. This is a true story. The state of New York paid this guy $69 million in cash for 1,400 ventilators. $47,000 plus per ventilator, which is triple the retail price. The state of New York has yet to receive a single ventilator. Not one. Not one. Well, the state terminated the contract, but we still haven't gotten our money back. We still haven't gotten our money back. Hey, but all these states need bailouts, right? You said, off of a tweet, you sent a guy $70 million. And again, you try to get a hold of the guy, try to call him, he can't be found. Anyway, I got to touch on this, too. These stories that we're seeing now about, again, it goes back to, we talk about Orwell here in Animal Farm and how, some pigs are more equal. Is it some animals are more equal than other animals? Some pigs are more equal than other pigs. Well, everybody saw this, but Michelle Obama, you see the Michelle Obama PSA? Again, telling us to stay home, stay safe, stay home. You only go out for essential travel, unless, of course, you are her husband who decided to go golfing in Virginia. He didn't just say, he doesn't have to. Okay, he's Barack Obama. How about the governor of Illinois? Very wealthy family. J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker, no, well, you got to stay home. Stay at home orders. Don't go anywhere. This is terrible. You can't go anywhere. You can't travel unless it's essential. Or yours his wife. Yeah, Pritzker's wife traveled to their home in their horse farm. Their horse farm down in Wellington, Florida. Again, because they're the elites. Yeah, people, we're just sheep out here. You want to be a sheep? You can be a sheep. You can continue to listen to these fools. Where they live their lives, they do their own thing, and we're the sheep out here. Yeah, I got to quickly talk about that letter by the Nobel Prize winners and movie stars when we get back. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. We shall return.
Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
I haven't heard this song in a while. Great tune. Welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Yeah, I guess it was in a French newspaper. Was it Le Monde? Le Monde. Bunch of movie stars and musicians. You got Robert De Niro, Madonna. I don't know if you saw any of her coronavirus little updates there. She's lost her mind. I feel bad. It's almost you feel sad. You feel bad for these people. And many others out there saying that we've got to come out of this coronavirus and change the economy because we're killing the planet. And the consumerism has to stop and we're changing the planet. These are coming from people that own houses all over the world, fly on private airplanes all over the world, spend ungodly sums of money, will go on vacation on David Geffen's boat, 120-foot yacht, and then some, but want the rest of us to live like peasants where they're kings. And again, you get sheep in this country that'll hit the like button when they see something like that. What's wrong with you? I don't get it. I don't understand. It's different types of human beings. I get it. There's different types of human beings out there, and there are leaders, and there are followers. There are. And there's just way too many sheep. There's way too many followers out there. Remember we talked about the word panic coming from the Greek god of Pan, and how he'd come out of the woods and herd sheep, herd people as well? Where that word panic comes from? When are you going to empower yourself? When are you going to free your mind? These people lecturing you. What, do you think they're going to live their lives like that? I'm getting off a beaten track right now. It just popped into my mind. I know we talked about it here on the program. What year was it? I don't know. Maybe it was 2009 when Al Gore held his live Earth concert around the globe. His live Earth concert, and you go to the website for the concert where you would punch in the size of your house, the car, how many miles you drove, all sorts of stuff, and it would congratulate you and tell you that you need to send Al Gore a check. So again, it's getting free your carbon sin. You just give Al Gore money and these people money, and all of a sudden your carbon sin is gone away. I'm a Catholic. You go to confession, and they tell you to do how many Our Fathers and Hail Marys and, acts of contrition. I get all that. But send Al Gore money, and your carbon sin is going to go away. Meanwhile, there's these concerts all over the globe, people flying on private jets here, there, and everywhere, and they're lecturing you. And yet people still send Al Gore money. Again, you really, a lot of people just stuck on stupid. Way too much of the population stuck on stupid. And guess what? If you're offended by this program, you're probably stuck on stupid. You are stuck on stupid. You're the ones that are going to send me nasty emails and all sorts of hate stuff, and I'm awful and I'm evil. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Anyway, I got to talk a little bit about the bailouts, the PPP program here. People out there that have received the PPP program, we've helped countless people all across the country. Spreadsheets there to help you apply for this. We've also put something together for you to help you actually account for your spending. Account for your spending so you can get either full loan forgiveness or partial loan forgiveness. We have that available. If you want to request that, again, get to our website, send us an email. We're here to help. As far as this PPP program is concerned, the government still doesn't even know how they're going to handle the forgiveness. I think it's going to be done by the individual banks. It's going to be punching in numbers. It's just way too big out there that they're going to be able to handle this. But they're really not sure how they're going to go about handling it. I don't. I know you're getting lobbyists lining up right now. There's talk of another stimulus package, which we don't need. We can't have. We keep going into these stimulus packages, and even Donald Trump's talking about it. Guess what, people? We're done. That's a country that's on life support. The longer this goes, the worse off we're going to be. Any sort of future stimulus program, bailout program, whatever you want, it has to be geared towards getting out. What we are going to do when we open up. What are we going to do to rekindle those animal spirits in our economy? We need to make it easier for entrepreneurs to access capital. There's going to be a lot of empty storefronts. A lot of empty storefronts. And we need to refill those storefronts. So we need to put if a business goes under, a restaurant goes under, and guess what? The restaurants that are going under, they may have been in trouble beforehand. They may have been in trouble beforehand and just decided, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. I got a lot of people are doing that. They're that's it. They're tired. I'm out. I've been doing this. I've been battling this for a long period of time. It's not successful. I quit. We need to encourage people to go out and take risk again. Go out and take risks. That's what needs to happen. I think we need. You know what? That's what I want. I want a stimulus package. You're going to go ahead and you're going to print more money. Let that money be used towards people that want to start a restaurant, that want to start a store, that have an idea, and open up the SBA and allow access to those funds after the proverbial smoke has cleared. Once people have finally, freed their minds and understood this for what it is. That's what we need. Not more money for states, not longer unemployment insurance, not more handouts and giveaways to certain favorite industries. And they're all lining up right now. They are. You got lobbyists from every single industry saying, hey, listen, we need a bailout. I need a bailout. We need a check. I need a check. No. Now, enough. Enough. Get the country open. Get entrepreneurs excited again. And let's grow this country. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. Again, we're here to help you. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.